Hello, Steve Arts 89. Well, the box office is in for Snow White, and it is disappointing, and that's considering that they, originally projected only 50 million, and then they downscaled that to like 45 million, and it still went under that and got 43 million. Now, that was domestic. International got 44 million. So everyone's pointing fingers at what happened. But this is also avoidable. So many things went wrong, and we're just like, you can see a mile away this was going to be a disaster. Yeah, and they did try to apparently reshoot a lot of stuff, and they seem to reshoot half the film and try and remake the original and merge it with this new version and try to make one film, and it just conflicts and doesn't work, and nobody's happy. So they tried to please everyone, and nobody's happy. Is one of the, sort of like the last Star Wars film in a way. Seems to be what I'm getting. I haven't seen it, so that's just what I'm hearing from people. But yeah. Gal Gadot isn't getting a lot of blame, but some are saying she should because her acting isn't good in this. I don't know, haven't seen the film, but I've never had any problems with her acting. Some people say she can't act, I'm not sure, because I know there are a lot of people who have issues with her because of her being from, I'm not even going to go into all that, but that is another issue because both Rachel Zegler and her seem to sit on opposite sides of a certain political issue at the time, and that's kind of alienating everyone. And apparently they wouldn't do any press together because they don't like each other because they're both on opposite sides of that certain political issue. So they're both their origins and their political issues. And then Rachel Zegler just came out and badmouthed the original film and said, ugh, it's just this out of touch, out of date movie about some weak woman and some creepy man or what, like creepy prince or just stalker. But she just trashed the original film. I'm like, people love that film, you fool. You're making a new version of that. You want those people to go and watch that film, because there's two ways to do an animated classic. You either recreate it, the idea is you just bring it to life in the real world in live action so people can enjoy it in that way, or you totally remake it and make a new film that is for a new audience. And this film, they seem to start off with that and then got scared and then tried to like remake and get back in touch with the original, and it just doesn't seem to work is what I'm hearing. But yeah, so Rachel Zegler did not help with all that. And a lot of people are attacking her for that. And it's like, well, you know what? Hollywood once upon a time would put their starlets and stars through like training. They basically went to like movie boot camp where they had to learn how to deal with press and how to promote things and how to present themselves. And they understood that when they were making a film and promoting a film, they were promoting that product and they had to act accordingly and be accordingly. Today, our stars and starlets, they come up through social media or their own, education, and they just think they can say whatever they want and it doesn't matter, and they don't realize every time they open their mouth they alienate, an audience, and the film loses money. And that's fine if they want to do that in between films, and then no one hires them for the next film because of what they said in between. That's fine. They didn't lose anyone any money. But you do that during the promotion of a film, you are losing the studio money, and it's just a mess. And Hollywood's partly responsible for that because they gave up that sort of, that way of operating, which was very helpful back in the day. So yeah, I just, and I mean, a lot of people too are just being racist because, Rachel Zegler's Latina. From a distance, superficially, she's basically white. She doesn't look that different from Snow White, but she played it very differently. And the whole idea was that she wasn't going to be that fair, fine, soft, delicate, feminine sort of character. But that's what a lot of people loved. That film is a time capsule people want to go back to. And I myself had that sort of feeling because I always felt like my mum's feminine ideal was Snow White. I think she grew up in the 40s, so that sort of look and that sort of woman was what she sort of idealised. And I always sort of felt like my mum sort of looked a bit like Snow White, and I remember sort of thinking that my ideal of Snow White is sort of like a younger idealised version of my mother, and I sort of was like, I would love to have seen that sort of woman on screen because she doesn't really exist anymore. And it would have been nice to have seen that, but instead we got the modern woman instead, and it's like, can't we just do a modern take on Snow White, like, separately? And then, like, I think the best thing to do is just do the classic take, and then once you've got that and you've made the old fans happy, then you can do a new turn on it, a new spin on it, because all these films, they're going to be remade multiple times. So you may as well start off with the original and then start veering off and going in different directions. And you can always point back to the other films and say, well, you've got that one. You can watch that if you like. They tend to do that with the original, which is fine with live action. But if you're updating from animated to live action, it's a bit different. People want the live action version to be very much just the live action version of the original. It's not like doing a different version. So I think they just missed the boat in so many ways, and it was all really avoidable. We all saw it coming a mile away. And yes, it's kind of sad because I just think it could have been a good film. I think some elements of it probably are good, and there's some positive reviews, but everything else is just a mess, and the overall is messy. So yeah, I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of Snow White and its box office performance.